Hello out there, YouTube friends. I am Cindy. This is SincerelyCindiSettle. Today, I'm going to review the Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James and The Butcher by Jennifer Hillier. Alright, so let's start with the Book of Cold Cases. So I've heard a lot about Simone St. James, and I've been wanting to read some of her work. So if you do not know and you're new to my book reviews, I have a Facebook group called Reading Brings Us Together. We do buddy reads and discussion days. So in October, we always do thrillers or mysteries or something like that. So this was chosen as one of our October reads, and I was excited about reading it. I always have an interest in I don't know, like true crime type stuff. I'm not like a true crime podcast person or anything like that, but I've always had an interest in, like serial killer cases, and, I watch SVU every now and then, and Criminal Minds intrigues me, that kind of thing. So I had an interest in this book, and it turned out to be a 3-star for me. It was a little bit of a disappointment. It was kind of slow in places. So in this book, we follow Shay, who is a podcaster at night. She has a website, a blog, things like that, and she podcasts, and she looks at crimes that are unsolved. So there was this lady killer crime in Oregon in 1977 that she's always been intrigued with because it's in an area in which she grew up and is familiar with, that kind of thing. So the person who was originally charged with that particular crime, well, those crimes, there were 2, so it made them a serial killer, was Beth, and Beth still lives in the area. She was acquitted of the crimes, and Shay came in contact with Beth, unintentionally, and they began a relationship, not a romantic or friendship or any, I don't even want to call it a friendship. So Beth agreed to be interviewed by Shay. So they start this interview process. Beth lives in this huge mansion that she was raised in, that her father had built, and it's all kind of creepy and that kind of thing. So they interview each other, they get to know each other a little bit. There's a side story with a private investigator. You do get to meet some of the detectives that originally investigated the crimes. There is some paranormal activity that's going on. So it was interesting. The paranormal piece was a nice kind of twist to it. It just kind of fell a little bit flat for me, but I have heard good things about this author. I may give her another try in another book. If you guys have read Simone St. James and you have a recommendation of a different one that I need to try of hers, please let me know, but this one just kind of fell a little bit flat for me. I did enjoy the growth that we saw from Shay, as she does have some trauma in her background that leads her to do certain things and kind of hole up by herself and things like that. So I did enjoy seeing the growth from her in her relationships and in her life. So that was nice. But the Book of Cold Cases itself and that plot line just kind of fell kind of flat for me. All right, so let's move on to The Butcher. So The Butcher was a surprising read for me. I do like an occasional thriller, and this one did not disappoint. I was intrigued from the get-go. Like the first chapter, the last line in the first chapter, I was like, wait a minute. So it kept me going. It kept me wanting to read. I read it in like 3 days, which is like unheard of for me. It is one of those stories that you know who done it from like almost the get-go. So just be prepared for that. If you're more of a thriller reader who enjoys a book to have the mystery of figuring out who done it, this one is not that book. But this book keeps you engaged and intrigued because you want to know how the whodunit is going to get caught and what all he has done and what he might continue to do. And so anyway, this one was a 5-star for me. I loved it. I don't give 5 stars out very often. I want to say this might be my first or maybe second one of the year. But again, I don't read thrillers very often, but I was very, very glad I picked this one up. I will likely pick up the other 2. This is a part of a series, but they can be read as a standalone. So if you're one of those people that likes to read them in order, feel free to do that. But if you're not, this one can be picked up on its own. I did get both of these books at the library, so my guess is that they would be able to be picked up at your library as well. So again, 5-star read. Highly recommend if you're a thriller lover. And I can't really tell you too much about the plot because I don't want to give too much away, but you need to read this book. All right, and if you want to join me at Reading Brings Us Together, we do have a sister group where we do discussion days and things like that in there. We do book exchanges. We have a lot of fun in there. We do a lot of different activities. We do Tuesday trains where we gift each other books. We also do Read It Forward, where if we have books on our shelves that we want to get rid of, we post those books and other people will say, hey, I want this book, and we ship it to that person via media mail, so it's not very expensive. So we would love to see you there, and I hope you enjoyed this brief review of these 2 books, and I will see you guys the next time. I am Sincerely Cindy Settle. I am signing out. Mwah.